We're just so excited to be able to share with you some of the stories of what God has been doing and some of the story of us as a people, as a church at the Well Sheffield over the last 5 years.
And Nick, I guess always when I think back, the exciting thing for me is this story has been about God started this church. It's just an incredible story of how he spoke to us prophetically about having this building in the city 6 years before we ended up here. One night through a prophetic word and just the journey of getting here. And there were times where it looked impossible, didn't it? Yeah. And yet we saw miracle after miracle. And that's why we're here. We're here because God set it up. And I guess when I remember back, there were so many prophetic words as we were listening, and we were listening with our friends, you know, what will church be like? What will it feel like? What are you asking us to do, God? And he kept saying the well. There was the prophet Isabel who gave us that word that we would come into an old place and we would open up an old well of the past. And I guess we began to wonder, is it called the well? Do we call the church the well?
Just as the idea of the well was taking shape, I went to a missions conference in Holland with Nick and Marjorie. One of the prophetic speakers prophesied over Nick and Marjorie about the well. It is well. He knew nothing about what was happening, what was being envisioned at that time. And it is well, all is well at the well. The well said about 16 times, and we knew the confirmation of the well.
And I always remember, and it's very important to us here, that this journey, this church began as family, just that group of friends that were community with us who committed to just step out and start something new, plant a church. And we sat around dreaming, do you remember, in the sitting room together, thinking about what our culture would be like, what we might do, where we might go.
We had a blank page to start from.
We did, and I guess because we were learning to be family together, and I just love those guys so much, our heart has always been that people coming into this church get to experience that same sense of family, because this church began as a family.
We're sitting around their front room, praying and listening to God as to whether we should plant a church in Sheffield and where that would be. To listen to God about what the well should look like.
I remember first hearing about this building on Ecclesall Road where we may be able to lodge for a few months, maybe a year. And I remember looking round it and thinking how fantastic it was and how lovely it was and what a great location it was. And I particularly have a memory of walking round the church for the first time, and the few of us who were there singing songs really loudly as we walked around.
Do you remember that first party, that first Sunday? And in many ways it just set the tone for what was to come, and we just threw open our doors. We welcomed the city, the neighbourhood into a party. Do you remember what it was like? We just threw food and drink for everyone and just waited to see who will come, and people came. And I love the fact, looking back, people came who had never been to church. Many people came who were far away from God. People came who'd fallen out with church years ago. And I guess that set in stone who we were to be as a people. It's been like that ever since.
The first year, the first season was a tremendous roller coaster, wasn't it? And it was brilliant fun. That's what I remember the most about it. We didn't know what was coming next. We didn't know who was going to walk through the door next. By Christmas of that first year of 2015, we decided as a church to try and buy this building. Then we went on this tremendous journey of prayer and of discernment and of people giving generously, and we were able to purchase the building. And that was just one of the things that happened that year. But it was this real sense of momentum, and that God was doing something new, and that there was something exciting to be a part of as a family.
And I guess the story of the well is about changed lives. We're all being changed, but there just has been story after story of testimony of God's goodness in people's lives. Let's hear some of those stories now.
I'm Josh. I've been a member of the Well family now for about 18 months, I think it is. I chose to give my life to Jesus because it hit rock bottom. I was in the darkest place I've ever been in my life, and I've seen a quote numerous times. It says, if you don't want your life, give your life to Jesus and he'll use it. And I was baptised on my 30th birthday of this year, which was fantastic. and it is the best decision I've ever made in my life. I have more peace than I've ever had, and God is using me to spread the gospel.
Hi, I'm Chris. I've been a Christian since 2017. I came to faith at an Alpha course at the Well. I was attending with two of my Christian friends at the time, who thought that would be a really good experience for me coming to faith, and ultimately it was. Since I became a Christian, I've gotten married. I've also seen huge answers to prayer from God, and actually have deepened in my faith as a result of an answer to prayer or answer to prayer for healing.
Hi, I'm Miriam, and I first came along to the Well 5 years ago on the first week that it launched, to the launch party. And I was also part of the deeper year, the first year that it launched, and it was really transformational for me spiritually. It really deepened my understanding of the Bible, and really strengthened my faith, which went on to stand me in really good stead when troubles came along later. I felt that I could really rely on God. So yeah, I love the Well, and it's a fantastic community to be part of.
We've been at the Well for 5 years, and it's been an incredible joy.
To summarize the last 5 years for us, we have 2 words. That's family and kingdom.
Family, because we just feel like we're at home, where we are loved and accepted, but at the same time we've been encouraged to grow and encouraged to step out to do what God has called us to do, but at the same time without fear of failure, because it's okay even if it doesn't work out.
Kingdom, or having a kingdom mindset, not about looking inwards and what's in it for me and what's in it for the church, and not just looking at the church itself, but beyond that, and to serve the city of Sheffield and beyond the city of Sheffield, to serve the people around us in our everyday. And it's about using the skills that God has given us and the gifts that He has given us to serve this city. And at the same time, over the last 5 years, it's also been a journey for me to be willing to be transformed by the Father and by Jesus, to be more like Jesus.
My name is Sula. I'm from Brazil, but have been in the UK for a while. Gave my life to Jesus a few years ago, but I didn't really think I needed to go to church. But the truth is, if you don't have that support, you end up going back to old ways. So I started going to the Well, but still had lots of doubts, and I guess I hadn't thought about getting baptized because of all the doubts, because of all the kind of battles I had internally going on. But then I just decided to do it, and it's been the best decision I've made. I've really felt a sense of peace since I got baptized. I'm learning every day to trust God. So yeah, this has been my experience. It's been extremely positive. You just gotta do it. You just gotta take that step and make that commitment, and it will be worth it, trust me.
And I guess at the end of the day, this church exists for the city, to bring life to the city, to draw people into life and to see lives changed by God. And it works like this. It's every person, every day, everywhere. We all have a part to play. It's you and it's me. And together we are the church.
Now, we talk about family, we talk about community at the Well, and that really is core to who we've become, a place where you can know people and be known. And so our community groups within our church are really important. They're spread all over the city. Let's hear from Charlotte, who's our community's champion, to tell us more.
Being part of community is just central to who we are at the Well as a people. It is so true, isn't it, that church happens around the table. That's where we get to share food together, where we get to share our life with each other, the highs and all of the lows. And community really is just that. And we have seen, haven't we, over these last few months, that is the place where connection really, really happens. And communities are just going to continue to be so important as we go forwards. I'm really sure of that.
What do I love about the Well? All sorts of things. I love the authenticity, the way that people are just themselves as they come through the door, as they interact with each other. I love the times of deep worship that we've had, where we've just gone deep and gone long in terms of just pressing into God's presence. I love that sense of fun. I love the silly dancing that we do on the Sunday morning sometimes with the children. I just love that sense of not taking ourselves too seriously, I guess.
Hi guys, so we love the Well for a number of reasons. The people, the atmosphere, God, and the fact that we can take our son there, but also the fact that our wedding was there and they bent over backwards. One of the funniest moments is that being a Sheffield United supporter from a family full of Wednesday fans, and Claire's dad being a Leeds fan, having the word United draped in red on the altar as Easter, that was great. Don't think they were too happy though, but hey, we got promoted that year. Cheers, Jesus.
And it has been such a fun journey. And I love the fact that we never know quite what will happen next. I often feel, God is really leading this church and we are following him, not the other way around. And that is a lot of fun. Yep. Just wondering what will happen, who will walk through the door next, who will we connect with across the city, what will their dream be?
All along, we're really trying to follow the Holy Spirit, trying to follow God's guidance and hang on to his coattails and discern what God's doing and follow that, even in a lockdown season like it's been in 2020.
I guess none of us would have seen this season coming, but he is still definitely at work. And we just want to say, well done, church. I've loved the way everybody has engaged and kept engaging online, joined us for that prayer week, kept looking for the possibles of what God is doing. And I love the fact that people have been coming to faith, even in this lockdown time. And we're going to hear one of those stories now.
I did Alpha during lockdown, and it has literally changed my life. For as long as I can remember, I always felt an underlying sense of anger within me, deep down, like something was missing in my life, my purpose, like there was a hole that needed filling. After the last Alpha session, later on that evening, I was filled with an immense sense of peace, like someone had literally come in and taken the anger away, and the hole within me has been completely filled.
The story of the well is your story. We're so grateful for the way that people like you have invested in church over these last few years, whether you've been for a few months or a few years. There's been such a level of generosity financially, but people's time, people's energies, people have painted the place. I can remember painting parties and garden parties. We've been out on the streets. People have given their time to serve behind the scenes in administration as trustees, all sorts of different ways that you've been involved. And we just want to say a really great thank you. It's been such a joy to serve God together, to try and work out how do we seek our city and serve our city over the years together as church family. And you are such a part of that.
There's something about us journeying together and just being part of God's family that's really significant as we serve our city. If you're new to us or you've recently started listening online, etc., we want you to hear today that you can be invited to be part of this adventure, part of this journey, and for all that God has for us in the season ahead.